Good morning. This is Teresa Nikas, and this is today's Quiet Echo. I went looking last week for a book I read maybe 15 years ago. I could not for the life of me remember the title. But I remembered the blue cover, and I remembered one scene from it, and I remembered the whole feeling of the week I spent reading it. And I thought to myself, well, the library will know. The library will have a record of it. I borrowed the thing from them after all. The library does not have a record, and when the young librarian explained to me why they do not, I stood there at the desk for a good while and thought about it, because what she told me runs against very nearly everything I believe about my own line of work, and I have decided standing here this morning she is right, and I am the one who needed correcting. So here is what I learned. A great many libraries now, and my own is one of them, keep no record at all of what you have borrowed. Once you have brought it back, the very moment the book is returned to the shelf, the link between you and the book is broken. On purpose. Now, they will keep the list for you if you ask them to, if it is something you want for yourself. But the setting starts out switched off. You have to go out of your way to be remembered. Now, I write a newspaper for a living. My entire trade rests on the conviction things ought to be written down. Why? Only last Monday, in this very spot, I stood here and argued a town which does not keep its own small record, loses its own people to time. So my very first reaction to a library forgetting on purpose was a kind of professional grief. All those books, all those readers, the whole quiet history of what a town has wondered about over the years, and they are simply letting it go. And then the librarian said the one thing which turned me clear around. She said, think for a moment about who would come asking for it. And well, of course she is right. Because a record of what a person has read is not a warm and a sentimental thing, not once it leaves the reader's own hands. It is a list of every single question they were ever quietly working on, the illness they looked up before they had told a living soul, the faith they were in the middle of leaving, or of finding, the trouble in the marriage they researched at 10 o'clock at night, the thing about their own self they were trying to understand long before they were ready to say it out loud to anybody. A library which keeps the list is a library which can be made to give it up, to a court, to a government, to anybody at all with the standing to ask and a reason to want it. And the only sure way on earth to protect a reader is to have nothing there to hand over. And so the most bookish institution we have has gone and decided the very highest form of respect it can pay to a reader is to forget her completely the moment she is done. I have spent my whole career believing memory is how we honor people. And here, now, is the exact opposite. And it is also true. Sometimes forgetting is how you honor them. I thought, standing there, about all the years I have spent scolding people, gently, for not keeping things. Save the letters, label the photographs, write down what your grandmother said before you lose it. And I still believe every word of it, but I had never once stopped to draw the line on the other side. I had never asked myself which things a person has an absolute right to have forgotten. It turns out there is a whole category of it, and the librarians have been quietly guarding the whole of it for longer than I have been alive, while the rest of us were not paying them the slightest bit of attention. The difference, I have come to see, is who the record actually serves. When a town writes down a woman took her children out to the lake, the record honors her. It says she was here and she mattered. But when an institution keeps a list of everything a person read in private, the record does not serve the reader at all anymore. It just sits there, waiting, to be used against her one day by somebody she has not even met yet. And a good newspaper knows this too, though we have our own word for it. We call it protecting a source. The entire reason anybody ever tells a reporter the truth is the promise we can keep their name out of it. The power to write things down carries right alongside it the duty to know what not to keep. And I had been holding on to only the one half of the rule. So this is not me retreating from what I told you last week. It is the other wing of the very same building. Write down the ordinary good and do it loudly. The vacation, the blue ribbon, the 50th anniversary, all the things a person would be glad to be remembered for. And then guard, just as fiercely, the private and the searching and the half-formed, all the things a person is entitled to go and explore without it trailing behind them for the rest of their life. I never did find my book. The library simply could not tell me, and I have made my peace, now, with the reason. Somewhere out there is a shelf holding every hard question I have ever quietly asked in the reading room, and the library has thrown the whole list away and kept me instead. So go and get yourself a card if you do not already have one. It is the last building in this town which will hold your curiosity for you and then refuse, on principle, to remember your name attached to it. And it is not carelessness, it is love, of a very disciplined kind. The front porch is open. What do you keep, and what have you chosen to forget on purpose? Come and tell us, and if we get something wrong, tell us, and we will run the correction. The readers of the Cedar Valley News are gathering to share their stories and keep company with respect and no party lines. Come sit with us. I will put the link in the show notes. This is Teresa Nikas, your host for today's Quiet Echo. Thanks for listening. Quiet Echo is part of the fictional Cedar Valley News series, written by Evan Swenson, publisher, and Claude Marshall, I developmental editor. While the people in town of Cedar Valley are fictional, the practice described here is real. Many public library systems do not retain a record of what a patron has borrowed once the material is returned, and where a reading history feature exists, it is typically off by default and must be switched on by the patron. Libraries adopt this practice to protect the confidentiality of what people read, reader privacy protections, and the profession's long resistance to disclosing. Borrowing records are long-standing commitments of the American Library Association.
You've been listening to the Cedar Valley News Podcast, where small-town voices meet the headlines shaping our world. From faith and family to front porches and fields. We'll be back with more stories connecting real lives to real events. Until next time, keep your porch light on, your faith strong, and your heart open. This is Cedar Valley News.